Agreed.
New Orleans Saints and the Houston Texans. This is now 1.5 to 2 in favor of the Saints on the road at Houston. 42.5 is your total. Texans going to be down kind of their star receiver to date, and Tank Dell not able to get out of the concussion protocol. This is pretty much par for the course, guys. So if you are handicapping these games, and this is something that another teaching moment, if you will, here, but if your handicap does rely on whether a guy's going to be in or out because he was put into the concussion protocol the week prior, we have not had a skill position player get out of the concussion protocol in 1 week since they went to these new guidelines since the middle of last season. And it was because it was a false diagnosis of concussion. It was, I think it was week 7 of last year in which that happened. And so you can pretty much take it to the bank that the guy ain't getting out of concussion protocol and he ain't going to be there. So you can just kind of take that moving forward in any of these handicaps with these guys. So that's where we're at here in this one. Steven, look, I don't like the Saints. Y'all know my feelings on the Texans. That being said, I couldn't put the teaser leg in the account. I really wanted to. It's still there. I still could get it there. And Adam made a compelling case for the Commanders, and this would be kind of a natural dance partner here with the Texans in a pretty low total game at 42.5. But it's not in there yet. Not saying it can't be.
I used the Texans on a teaser leg this week up to 7.5. I feel pretty good about it. I think the Saints are an extremely lucky 3-2, to be quite honest with you, based on the schedule that they've played. I think it's a benefit of the opponents they played. Saints offense is 29th in the NFL in yards per play. And over the past 3 weeks, they are bottom 10 in net yards per play. Somehow they won a game 34-0 last week, and my confidence in them did not rise. I don't know how that's possible, but it happened. I don't think the defense is real, to be honest with you. They are number 4 in DVOA. They're number 3 in EPA. They're top 5 in success rate defensively. But the quarterbacks they have faced, Ryan Tannehill and his worst offensive line in the league, Bryce Young, Jordan Love, who they lost to, Baker Mayfield, who they got blown out by, and Mac Jones. I think this is a fraudulent defense statistically. I don't think they're nearly as good as what their metrics say. And I think the Texans passing offense is legit. I am very impressed with CJ Stroud. This is the number 8 passing offense by EPA, the number 13 passing offense by success rate, the number 6 passing offense by DVOA, and the Saints have the number 29 pressure rate. Now, Tank Dell is likely out, and that's a big deal because they're getting very thin at receiver, and Robert Woods is limited as well. So it might be Nico Collins and whatever John Mechie can provide out there. So that's kind of giving me a little bit of pause to not want to just take Houston outright, because what I'm seeing here on paper screams home underdog wins outright. But being a little thin at receiver on top of the offensive line being still a mash unit, I couldn't get there on the money line, but I feel really good about the teaser leg.
Adam, I don't think we can take anything that the Saints did last week and make that a basis for backing them in this game. Like I said, the Patriots are garbage, and so it's better for them for sure that they were able to go and put that performance up. I'm not taking that away from them, but I don't look at that and say like, oh, see, look, this is the Saints are world beaters all of a sudden. Like, no, they beat up on a bottom 5. Let's just be honest. I mean, it's a bottom 5 team at this point, is what really happened there. How do you see this kind of a weird game here? Because it's 2 different teams that I think you could, if you want to, grasp onto a reason they win, but then there's also reasons that you could poke holes in reasons they win.
So let's ask a question here about the matchup between these 2 teams. And Matt, I'm going to kick it right back to you. Tell me the argument against taking what is now a Wong teaser with Houston. What is it that worries you about Houston or makes you feel good about the Saints that would hold you off here?
Yeah, I mean, I guess my answer to that is Tank Dell has actually been such an incredible contributor to this team, and now you don't have your number 1 receiving option. And I understand Tank Dell is not Jamar Chase, and Tank Dell is not like any of these other like number 1s out there. But I think in today's league, if a number 1 receiver is not going to be available for his quarterback, we at least have to give at least some extra thought to that game. I'm not saying that maybe keeps you off of making the bet, but I do think we at least have to take some serious consideration with it.
That's fair argument. I'm going to push back with the idea that Tank Dell is not the number one receiver for the Houston Texans. Nico Collins is the number one receiver for the Houston Texans. By PFF grade, he's number 8 on the year. Tank Dell is number 25. By yards after catch on average, Nico Collins is tied for number 1 in the league with DJ Moore, and DJ Moore's stat is hugely inflated off what happened last week against Washington. And Nico Collins is also tied for the most forced missed tackles among wide receivers in the league. All of this is to say that if your handicap is, well, if you shut down Nico Collins, then you shut down the Texans, I don't know that it's going to be so easy to just shut down Nico Collins. Marshawn Lattimore this year, if you go among starting cornerbacks in the league, sort him out by PFF grade, 50% of the snaps. Marshawn Lattimore is around 24 with a coverage grade below 70 on the season. I'm not convinced that Marshawn Lattimore just gets stuck onto Nico Collins and shuts him down. And we've seen that CJ Stroud can work through a progression. We've seen that CJ Stroud is able to not force throws. Now, he does have no interceptions and 5 turnover-worthy plays. So you can say there's some regression baked in there. So I look at it 2 ways. First of all, I have the Texans teaser leg. I like that Texans teaser leg better than I like the Washington teaser leg, and I feel good about it. Frankly, if you wanted to play Texans money line here, I wouldn't argue with you because of this. We have no idea who the Saints are. Derek Carr last week, in a game in which the Saints went over 30 points, threw for 183 yards. He was consistently given short fields. He was consistently put in great spots by the defense, and that defense played well in large part because they had Mac Jones going against them. So could the Saints pop out and become the team that people think that they could be this week against Houston? Sure they could. But if you look at the last 3 weeks of what the Texans have given you once CJ Stroud settled in a little bit, you've gotten a team that is right there, I would say, toward the bottom of the second tier, maybe the top of the third tier in the NFL. So right now, you give me that team at home in a lowish total game, I feel plenty comfortable with the teaser, and I would not talk anyone off taking either the points or a shot at the money line.